Jai Shri Ram. Let us learn about Bhishma Pitamaha. I have collected a lot of information and let us see what we get out of the whole thing, out of this discussion. You might also get some wonderful insights. Bhishma had Ichha Mrutyu. That means he had this siddhi to decide when to die. That was because his father Shantanu gave him the boon. When Bhishma took the vows, Bhishma Pratigna. Bhishma took the vow. When you already know the story anyway, I'll quickly repeat it for you. So, Shantanu fell in love with Satyavati, who was the daughter of a fisherman. And the fisherman did not allow the king to marry his daughter unless the king was willing to accept that her sons should be sitting on the throne. So, Shantanu already had who? Bhishma as his Devavrata. Devavrata was his earlier name. So, Devavrata, born of Ganga, was already there, so he was the rightful heir to the throne. So Shantanu was very hesitant and he felt depressed and he went away. And seeing his depression, Bhishma one day inquired and found out. He inquired, investigated thoroughly and found out. Then he went to the father of Satyavati and then he told him that he will not sit on the throne, so don't worry, you can give your daughter in marriage to my father. That means the son has sacrificed his pleasures and for the sake of the father. Next, the fisherman then said, that is all right, but then tomorrow when you get married, your children will seek, your son will want to sit on the, then what will happen to my? So Bhishma took another vow. He said, okay, I'll never marry. These are two terrific vows that Bhishma took. You see, this is the case of a son sacrificing his pleasures for the sake of the father. And when Shantanu came to know about this, he was indescribably sort of, filled with grief actually. But then there was nothing much he could do because the son had already taken the vow, and so he blessed his son. You will have the siddhi of Ichha Mrutyu. Now there are lots of questions that will come up in your mind if you are a serious student of Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata. See, the simple question is, if a good man dies, irrespective of the time and place, he should go to heaven. Whether he belongs to any cult, let us say X and Y belong to these desert cults, but they are not following their unholy books, and they are actually leading dharmic lives. Now when they die, they will definitely go to heaven. That's what Bhagavad Gita will tell you and Veda will tell you. But not their books. In their books, everyone other than their cult members will go to hell. Even if the other person is the greatest saint alive on planet, if they don't subscribe to their desert cult, the others will go to hell. But Hinduism is not like that. Now, so the simple question and the simple answer was, if a good man, a saintly person, a sant dies in the, the last 6 months of the year, that is Dakshinayana, where would he go? Go to heaven only. How can he go to hell simply because he was born at the wrong time? It doesn't make any sense. It actually is anti-thematic to the entire philosophy of the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita. So how do you reconcile these contradictions? Okay, I think you will want the answer very quickly. I have been researching this and I have been reading many commentaries, but I am fully dissatisfied with all the explanations given there. My explanation, which I think is entirely because of an epiphany Krishna conferred on me. So, my epiphany is Bhishma lay on that bed of arrows with an ulterior motive. Just as in the Ramayana, Rama told Lakshmana to go and receive knowledge from Ravana because Ravana was in the throes of death. THROES, throes means pain. But Ravana was also, a divine character. So the moment he fell, he was no longer on the mortal plane. He was suspended in limbo sort of. He was in a liminal space. That means neither heaven nor earth. He is traveling. So there is no pain there actually. Pain is what we humans feel because of our human bodies. So Rama told Lakshmana to go and receive whatever knowledge Ravana is willing to impart by virtue of his great experience. Now, not that Lakshmana needed any knowledge. It is a lesson for all of us. Instruction to all old people. Whatever lesson you have learnt in life, please impart it to the next generation so that they become better human beings and assist in the whole purpose of Sloka Sangraham, which is what Krishna has set out for himself. So by helping Krishna's family, after all, we are all eternal relatives, eternal friends and eternal companions. Our relatives on earth, you see, wife, son, father, mother, these are all temporary because they will inevitably end. When they die or we die, separation is unavoidable. Whereas there is no death for the Jivatma and the Paramatma, and we are eternal relatives. So that is our original relationship, the only relationship, the true relationship which will never end. So the lesson, the instruction is for all wise people, all knowledgeable people. Whatever be your qualification, at the end of so many years of life, you will acquire a lot of experience and knowledge. Your job is pass it on to the next generation, make the world a better place. Only Hindus can do that, because in the other cults, they are teaching so much filth, lechery, butchery, treachery, there is nothing to pass. If they pass on, then they will make the world a horrible place, living hell, which is what they are doing anyway. But we Hindus are not doing what we are supposed to do. So that is the lesson. Bhishma had to stay back till the war is over so that he can impart Raja Dharma, Apad Dharma, and in that Shanti Yoga, all kinds of dharmas he has imparted. So this, I think, was the real reason. Not that he had to die at a particular time, because there are many terrorists dying in Uttarayana. They should go to hell, they should go to heaven. Can they go to heaven? Simply because there is a terrorist who dies in Uttarayana, Shukla Paksha, Krishna Paksha. So 823 to 828, study Bhagavad Gita. I am posting talks on that also. 8 chapter 23, 8 chapter 28. These so many shlokas are deeply profound, esoteric, arcane, occult. The meaning is not obvious. Simple minds which do not have any foundation in spirituality and Vedanta will not understand it correctly. So a good man, irrespective of the place and time he dies, he will go to heaven. An evil person, irrespective of the place and time, will go to hell. That is already confirmed. Now then, why did Bhishma wait? I gave you the answer. Bhishma waited because he had to pass on the information. He had to wait till the war was over. And the moment Bhishma fell, Nihata is the word. Nihata means dead in Sanskrit. How can Bhishma die? Because he already had Ichha Mrityu. So the word Nihata must have a second meaning. Nihata simply means he fell. But he fell and he was on that Astra Shayana, bed of arrows. That bed of arrows symbolically means that he was in a state of limbo. He was neither on the mortal plane earth nor in heaven. He is waiting in the threshold. He is waiting on the portal. He wants to enter. And he has to get moksha. So he has to join his other Dyaus. They are Devas actually. Dyaus Vasu. He was the Dyaus Vasu. They were the Vasus, Ashtavasus. So for a small mistake actually, the Vasus went to Vashishta's ashram for lunch or something. Vashishta invited them, they had good lunch. But Dyaus Vasu, who was the eldest of them all, his wife was impressed with all the food and services and banquet facilities of Vashishta. And when they found out it was because of the Kamadhenu. So this lady wanted that Kamadhenu. Vashishta would not part with it. Therefore, Bhishma, who was originally Dyaus Vasu, he stole that Kamadhenu. Dongatanam chesadu. So because he stole it and he got caught, Vashishta cursed him that you will be born as a human. So Dyaus Vasu pleaded, please. Then he said, don't worry, you will get a great reputation and you will do great service, you will impart knowledge to humanity and all that. So others, all these Vasu brothers, Dyaus was the guy who actually stole, so he bore the brunt of the curse. The others were all cursed because they were in a gang. They came there. So they all were weeping and they were very distressed and disconsolate. And at that point of time, Ganga happened to see them. Ganga Mata. So she inquired of them, Are Baba, why are you? Roti Surat leke kyun bethe? Endukra idap maal eskunu kuchunnaru. Ani Ganga Devi adigindanta. When Ganga Devi asked, they narrated the whole story, and then she said, okay, They said, please become our mother so that we can be relieved of this. She said, fine. But they will be born and they can be quickly killed and they go back. So that was the secret. So, but then Ganga said, okay, at least one son should survive. Otherwise, my being birth on earth will go unnamed, as if I have no importance and, no impact. So one fellow has to stay back, impactful fellow. And naturally, Bhishma, who wore the brunt of the curse, had to be that person. So Shantanu married Ganga. After Satyavati, Shantanu fell in love with Ganga and he married her. Ganga came before. So Ganga came before Shantanu's marriage with Satyavati. So let us get that very clear. So by the time Shantanu fell in love with Satyavati, Bhishma was a young man, fully grown up, eligible bachelor. So that was when he took the vows for the sake of his father. So this much is very clear. Now, Bhishma, Nihata, dead. No, Nihata simply means he fell. He fell, but he was in a subliminal zone, in a liminal space. Subliminal is a word which means below the level of consciousness. Liminal means also below the level of consciousness or above the level of consciousness. So liminal space, that means something like a limbo, something suspended animation between earth and heaven. So on the threshold, he is knocking on the doors of divinity. Oh, that is the best expression we can use. So now Bhishma is said to have died. In fact, Sanjaya comes back from the battlefield to narrate the whole of the Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra. He starts with, actually Sanjaya comes back after Bhishma fell. So Dhritarashtra up till that time was confident that they would win the war, because Bhishma is on their side. Bhishma, who defeated Parshuram, cannot be defeated by anybody. So this was the source of confidence. But after Bhishma fell, Sanjaya rushed back and informed Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra was shocked. How can Bhishma fall? Because he has Ichha Mrityu. That is why he wanted to know. And the Dhritarashtra uttered the first sloka. Dharma kshetre, kurukshetre, samaveta, yuyutsava, mamaka, pandavaschaiva, kima kurvata Sanjaya. That means what exactly happened? Please tell me. That is, then Sanjaya narrates the whole of the Bhagavad Gita. This was the conversation. This is what happened. Now, the question we have already answered. Bhishma remained because he wanted to impart whatever knowledge he acquired in his entire life. So that is the only message. So this Shukla Krishna Gati Hyate, all these 8:23 to 28, you can read it later, or if you want, I will towards the end I will read that also. So these are to be understood not as time but as a path. That is, the Adi Shankaracharya interpreted that not as time but as a path. So therefore what it means is, this is the path that people who do selfless action will take. If you are a karma yogi doing nishkama karma, you will take the Shukla path, Shukla Gati, that is path. Krishna Gati is the dark path or Dhuma Marga, which is Pitriyana. That means you will come back. Again, these two paths are only for yogis, not for the common people. See, yogis are of two types now. One is the Nishkama Karmi and Karmat. The Karmat means one who is doing all the Vedic yajnas with the objective of achieving all the benefits. So this person is also a yogi because he is only following prescribed duties, he is not indulging in any proscribed duties. Anything banned, nishiddha, prohibited, he is not doing that. If you do anything that is prohibited, that is papa. And if you do whatever is prescribed, it yields punyam. But punyam and papam also have their own fruits. So if you acquire punyam, you will go to heaven and enjoy. And that is the theology. Now you can enjoy even on earth. So that's a different thing. So papam, the fruits, you will have to suffer the consequences. You will incur papam if you indulge in proscribed, prohibited actions. And you will gain punyam if you do what is prescribed. That is Panchamaha Yajnas and all the Vedic Yajnas. So now there can be two broad types of yogis. Please try to listen and understand. If you want to make notes, please make notes. The first yogi is the Nishkama Karmi. That is the Karma Yogi, which is what Krishna is trying to teach. And Krishna says that Nishkama Yogi is greater than the other yogi. Because the Nishkama Yogi, who is like the drop of water on the lotus leaf, he indulges in selfless action. He does all prescribed actions and other actions, whatever is necessary to uplift dharma without any selfish motive. And therefore he will go by the Shukla path, Shukla Gati. He will not come back. He will go to Brahmaloka and Krama Mukti. Gradually he will acquire Brahmajnana and he will go back and sit with Krishna on the top of the tree, which is a parable I narrated several times. Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Ruksham Parishasvajate Tayoranya Pippalam Swadvati Anachnananyo Abhichakashiti. The two birds parable which occurs in the Vedas. That means the Jivatma and Paramatma are two birds sitting on the same tree, which is the tree of the body. And within our body, both Paramatma, Jivatma are there. So, just as you need the body for the Jivatma, Paramatma needs the Jivatma to exist. This is the theology. So, without Krishna, the Dhatu, the energy, without Rama, nothing can move. So, Krishna and ourselves, we are all. So, that is why Krishna knows your innermost thoughts. He is the eternal Sakshi. You don't have to pray. Whatever you do, he already knows. He will give you what you deserve. Yeah, maybe sometimes he will give you what you ask for. That's a different discussion. I don't want to get into that now. So, Krishna is actually from 83 to 28, 8 chapter 23 to 8 chapter 28, Krishna is saying that there are two types of yogis. One is the Nishkama Karma Yogi. Naishkarmya. That means no personal motive, no selfish motive. This person gains moksha and he will not come back. But the other yogi who is also yogi, but he is a lesser yogi in a way. Because he is doing it with a selfish motive, but he is only doing prescribed actions. He is not conducting, he is not incurring any papam. So, that man will go to the heaven, enjoy all the benefits and come back. Come back as a human being. Right? So, I think now the clarity is there. So these shlokas are meant only for those who are yogis, not for the common people. An ordinary person who has no idea and who is going to these dargahs and tombs and graves and or worshipping some weird Baba, this fellow will go to hell. Or unfortunately he may be reborn as some insect or animal. This human birth, this fellow is wasting. And if he is arrogant, then nobody, even Krishna cannot help him. Because Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, Itite jnanam akhyātam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrushyaitad aseshena yadechhasi tadakuru. Krishna does not interfere with your cognitive liberty, your freedom of will, your will, free will, cognitive liberty. Cognitive means pertaining to knowledge. So you are free. Krishna is also saying yadhechhasi tadakuru. Krishna is also saying do whatever you think you like, whatever is okay with you. Yadhechhasi, whatever you like, you please do. So Krishna is also not forcing. If these fellows want to go to the dargahs and all that and start worshipping there, Krishna will say okay, go ahead, waste your time, it's not my problem. You will face the consequences and someday later you will realize. That also Krishna has said. Because in another shloka he said, Shreyan dravyamayat yajna jnana yajna parantapa sarvam karmakhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. Sarvam karmakhilam partha. All karma, all action ultimately will take a man to jnana. Sarvam karmakhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. That means even the worst sinner in the next birth and so on and so forth, 84 lakh yonis are there. Then eventually that fellow has to go back only. That much is confirmed. But you can speed up the process. That is the whole essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, I think I have discussed Bhishma, Devavrata, exactly. Right? So, Bhishma's case is very unique. Bhishma is not an ordinary mortal. Bhishma, the word Nihata being used, even Krishna said Bhishma is Nihata. Krishna is consoling Ganga. Ganga is also weeping that her son is dead. Krishna consoles Ganga Devi and tells her, Krishna uses the word Nihata, but tells her, please understand, he is a Deva. He is not on mortal plane. In fact, in the Mahabharata, after Bhishma is lying on the bed of arrows, they bring all food and water and all that. So Bhishma says, sorry, I am not on this mortal plane. I don't need this. I need heavenly water. Akasha Ganga. I don't need earthly Ganga or earthly water. And all this food and all that, please. And all that pain, of course, was not there. This is only for the human eye. In fact, Krishna gave him that boon also. Krishna removed all pain and made him feel young and energetic, full of ojas, energy, with which Bhishma was in a position to explain Raja Dharma, Apad Dharma, and all other dharmas. So, when Yudhishthira came to pay his respects, so Akasha Ganga was also, only Arjuna could bring Akasha Ganga. He shot an arrow into earth and magically Akasha Ganga came, not the local Ganga, indigenous Ganga. So Mahabharata is so complex, you see. There are so many esoteric concepts which are not easily understood. When Yudhishthira came to pay respects, Krishna suggested to Yudhishthira, please take knowledge from Bhishma. Bhishma said, how can I? When you are there, you are the Supreme Lord. Does anybody know more than you? Krishna said, no, I want to hear from you. That is the grace of Krishna. That is the greatness of Krishna. The Lord loves to listen to his devotees, especially the knowledgeable ones. That is why Krishna also declares in the Bhagavad Gita, the man of knowledge is dearest to him. You remember that sloka? Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna artho jignasuratharthi jnani cha bharatarshava. That jnani is dearest to me. That's what Krishna said in the next sloka of that. So now I think I have answered many questions, and if you still have any questions, you can post them in the comments box. So Krishna, this is the puzzle, this is the conundrum, this is the paradox. Bhishma is both alive and not alive. He is both alive and not alive. So Bhishma fell from the chariot, but he was immediately enveloped by an ambience of Swarga, Swargiya Bhava. And there was a rain, and there was an earthquake, and all these things are described so wonderfully. This phenomena is telling us that it is not simply a fall of a powerful warrior, it is an extraordinary, divine, superhuman being. So, and Bhishma on the Astra Shaina was actually chanting Mahopanishad. If you study the Bhishma Parva, Adhyaya 14, Shloka 125, you will notice that Bhishma is chanting the Mahopanishad. So, and Bhishma waited. Immature people will think that this wait is only for a particular muhurtam. No, not at all. So you have to take the gati, the path. We are not talking about time. That is why Krishna is Chaliya. He will deceive you. If you are not using your brain, you will misunderstand everything. And Ganga actually sends all the Maharshis who come in the form of Hamsas, swans, to Bhishma. And they Maharshis also were asking, why should Bhishma die when the sun is in the south? So Bhishma looked at them and he said, okay, I will take Ichha Mrityu only when the sun is in the northern direction. Now, again, the Maharshi is asking the question is not because of their ignorance, because they want to impart to us that behind all these rituals and procedures, there is a deeper spiritual meaning which you should understand. I am repeatedly trying to say the same thing. Become a karma yogi. In Kali Yuga, you don't know how many years you will live. If you follow astrologers, palmist, vastu, and so many other things, you will not be able to perform any dharmic activity, and you will not get moksha. You will probably come back as a human being. Again, you will go through charvita charvadanam, chewing the same cud. So please be careful. Any questions you can ask me. I will post one more video later. Jai Shri Ram.